Well, when I was a teenager, I was interested in the occult. And the occult in those days meant you got dream books and you got books on fortune telling and all that sort of thing. And the closest thing there was to anything about calling up spirits or demons and that sort of thing was a lot of gobbledygook where you stood around in a circle and you used the protective names of Jehovah and Jesus and all that. And I tried it. Oh, Lord knows I tried it, but it didn't work. And so I thought to myself, well, if I'm going to call up any demons, if I'm going to get any magical power, if I'm going to get anything going my way, I better get on the side of those guys instead of protecting myself from them.
I don't like humanists any more than Christians.
You don't like humanists either?
Humanists, you have to understand this once and for all. Christians must know Satanism is not humanism. Humanism is based on Christian ethics and ideas. It just doesn't have Christ. But it has the same appalling ideas about equality, love for everybody, indiscriminate love for all living things. And we oppose those ideas.
Altruism, humanitarianism,
Humanism
all that
and Christianity are in bed together. They're the same thing. There's no
well, the
difference.
humanists might not appreciate that, but I hear where you're coming from.
Of course they wouldn't.
A white witch
And as far
as
I'm concerned, there's Satanism and then there's other people.
Yeah, your father in the satanic rituals really puts out some zingers at the witches who want to be white witches. He says there really is no such thing. A witch is a witch is a witch.
That's right. Wouldn't you agree?
I agree. Now
Carla LaVey doesn't blame the crash on reckless driving. She says Brody had been cursed by her father, famed in Hollywood as the leader of the Church of Satan.
Things had just become worse and worse with Sam Brody. And at one point, he'd come into my father's ritual chamber, and he touched various things that he had no business touching. And so after this had gone on for quite some time, my father said, well, this is it. You have a curse on you, and you're going to be dead within a year. So it was not a curse on Jane Mansfield. It was a curse on Sam Brody. And it was just very unfortunate that Jane Mansfield happened to be there at that time.
Jane was certainly an all-American star, and to this day, it seems as though she and Marilyn Monroe have never been replaced.
Sex goddesses of the past have been largely as a result of luck more than anything else. However, in the case of Jane Mansfield, she was an active member of the Church of Satan and certainly under tragic circumstances left the Church of Satan. And the situation concerning Miss Monroe, that was a long, long time ago, long before the Church of Satan. However, she did have an unswerving interest in the dark side of life.
Why is my father so much like Manson, and why is he considered so much like Hitler, and why is he considered so much like even Rasputin, who completely turned Russia upside down? And now I'm beginning to realize that maybe there are two sides to every story, and maybe if you examine the other sides that you don't hear about, you learn something that is a little more illuminating.
I love life very much, and it's been said that I can't possibly love life, that I'm a very unhappy man, or must be a very unhappy man. And I would say that I'm a very happy man, an extremely happy man, in a compulsively unhappy world.
LaVey, the Church of Satan is dead. The death certificate says Anton LaVey died on Halloween, and perhaps that is fitting for a man who became one of San Francisco's special characters after he founded his own so-called satanic church. There were nudes on the altar, a pet lion, and a house painted black. Bob McKenzie has our report.
Inside the infamous Black Victorian this morning, Anton LaVey was not only present in spirit, but in wax, on loan from the Wax Museum, and also on the mantle, where his ashes reside in a jar next to one of his favorite skulls. The high priest of the Church of Satan died last week at the age of 67 of heart disease. Today, his daughter, Carla LaVey, and his longtime companion, Blanche Barton, told the press that Anton's church will go on.
He will always be our leader. He was our founder. He started this movement. No one will ever take his place.
The reason he founded the Church of Satan and wrote the Satanic Bible is because Satan is the ultimate rebel. He's the free thinker. He's will, defiant to the very end. And I think all of us have a little of Satan in us.
Carla LaVey will take over as high priestess of the group. Barton is busy raising the young child she had with LaVey. In 1966, LaVey, a sometime lion trainer, photographer, musician, and hypnotist, founded the Church of Satan in San Francisco. When he performed a satanic wedding in 1967, it hit the national press. For years afterward, LaVey was the darling of the media, always good for some copy on a slow day. He gathered adoring supporters with his goofily sinister trappings and his self-styled Satanist philosophy. That philosophy was an eccentric blend of 60s nonconformism, Ayn Rand-style individualism, and odd bits of witchcraft, dressed up with plenty of showmanship. Enemies who took him seriously called him evil. Enemies who didn't take him seriously called him a con man. His career peak came in 1968, when he played the devil in Rosemary's Baby.
No dream, this is really happening.
You described your childhood as a normal one?
It was actually very normal in a way. I thought it was, but what I didn't realize was that when I went to school and we reported on what our pets were, of course, mine was a pet tarantula, an alligator, and a lion. And most of the other children had maybe a cat, a dog, or a goldfish.
George Mikowski, a friend of the family, played one of LaVey's compositions, called A Hymn for the Devil.
He said in his epitaph something to the effect of, I only regret the times that I was too nice.
Whether Anton LaVey was an evil man or just a nice guy in a black outfit, he was at least a colorful character, and the city will be a little paler without him.
Satanists at the time of death, it's a great victory for them because death is a huge thing that they celebrate. And he was getting ready to die and pass on his powers and that. And on his deathbed, he must have got some revelation or an angelic appearance or something. And he went into shock and he said, "Oh my, oh my, what have I done?" He said, "There's something very wrong. There's something very wrong. There's something very wrong."
Wow.
But I can assure you, Satanism is here to stay.